Prime Minister Boris Johnson on Tuesday promised to use the COVID-19 pandemic as a catalyst to build a stronger Britain led by private enterprise and took aim at potshot snipeshots opponents who want to prolong government bailout programs forever. In a sometimes combative speech to his Conservative Party, Johnson said simply defeating the virus wasn't enough because history has shown that events of this magnitude often lead to social and economic change. Joining us now to talk more from London, England, is Kai Dewar. This year, as I've mentioned several times that we've been on air, is the pandemic has shifted and has brought up conversations that are necessary and also some things that have left a lot of areas of unsurety. What's your response to what's happening right now?
Nietzsche, I think in the United Kingdom, we also have the uncertainty of the fact that at the end of this year, we finalize our Brexit departure as well. So we have major shifts happening in our economy, both due to the pandemic and the ongoing negotiations with regards to trade agreements that need to be in place by the 31st of December. The one thing that we can say is very clear that right now in the United Kingdom, especially being Europe, the European Union's biggest trading partner, we have got to start restarting the economy. It needs a kick. Otherwise, the effects of the recession that we're in and experiencing are going to take not a few years to come out of like previous recessions, but a few decades. So right now we have got to start doing something. And I think in many ways, the Prime Minister's proposal about infrastructure and investing in private enterprise in the United Kingdom is a welcome relief for many that are involved in those areas that have gone through 6 to 8 months of economic uncertainty and desperately need a way forward for the economy to start growing again.
Sure. Dr. Dewar, to note, this has killed more than 42,000 people in Britain, which is the highest death toll in Europe. People from across the political spectrum have criticized the government's test and trace system, and members of Johnson's own party have opposed restrictions aimed at showing the spread of the disease. What should the response be? What should the resolution be? What should be taking place right now?
Well, as you mentioned, we have a test and trace system that's failed. That cost us £8 billion to then have to invest several billion more in a new system that crashed within 30 minutes of being live. The government's proposals and then their plan to deal with the pandemic have been very hit and miss, mishmash. The difficulty in the United Kingdom is because we have 3 devolved parliament bodies within the United Kingdom, we haven't had a 4-country consensus. So England has had different approach to Scotland, Northern Ireland, Wales. We've seen different restrictions, different timings. There should have been a one nation approach. And in a recent survey published just yesterday, coming out of Edinburgh, a group of scientists have determined that the best approach for us in defeating this would have been what Boris Johnson and the Conservative government initially planned on doing, which was the development of herd immunity against the virus COVID-19, which potentially would have saved in the long run 80 to 85,000 lives. So we could have very much negated the current death toll that the virus has created and minimize future infections by allowing the stronger within the British society to develop that herd immunity and done what we needed to do to protect the vulnerable rather than the mass closure of an entire nation and locking down everybody, which I personally think has had long-term mental health effects on a lot more people than the government is very much aware of, as well as the social and economic effects that we're now experiencing as we start to come out of these, yet still have areas that are going into what we call local lockdowns, and those are determined by the local authorities. So there are different rules in place all across the United Kingdom, even as we speak.
Dr. Dewar, this is definitely something that has taken a toll on everyone in many capacities and in many ways. And based upon the passion that you share for this alone, I definitely know that there are many people who feel that this is a conversation that needs to continue and hopefully a resolve and a rebuild of the economy. Thank you for giving us a look at how things are navigating there. Always a great conversation with you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you, Nietzsche. Good to be with you.